Yep, it's a Mighty Jalaki, aka Cat. I'm just going to show you 5 tips and tricks you might not know. Part 2 for Ark. They're nothing groundbreaking, but they are just little nifty ways of doing things you might not know. So let's say you want to fill up your turrets. This can work with tech turrets and shards, or heavy turrets or auto turrets with ADVs. But you just want to fill your inventory up with the ammunition basically, and you're not going to be able to walk about, let alone faff about on climbing picks or grappling hooks to find the right turret to replenish the right amount of ammo into. So if you just have a tech chest piece and a tech set of legs, you can carry any amount of resource or bullets or whatever. You can be completely encumbered, and you can still fly. You can still be versatile with going up, down, left, right, you know, and actually selecting the turrets you need to then put the ammunition in. So there's tip number 1 basically. If you use the tech legs and a tech chest, you can fill up your turret towers of shards and ADVs effortlessly. It's really easy, and it saves faffing about with climbing ups and on hatch frames and whatnot. You know, it's a big faff. So moving on into trick number 2. When you're placing down a cloning chamber, you can actually have multiple cloning chambers in the vicinity of your first original cloning chamber. So another thing to note with the clone chambers, actually, you can set them quite far back into the mesh. So if you live in a cave or somewhere that's not massive, you can still get cloning chamber in. Now, to stack the cloning chambers, you want to line up the terminal like within itself, as you can see here, and some people do it on an axis. But personally, I've found the best, because it gets fiddly when you're trying to clone 2 things. I've found it best if you just move it to the right or to the left, yeah, where the terminals have lined up, then just move it to the left or the right, and you'll know it's worked, because the kind of arches, the outside bit, will slot into each other, and I find that's the most effective when stacking cloning chambers, and that way you can have more cloning chambers in the space where you could only just fit one singular one. Now, coming on to the 3rd tip and trick, it isn't really much of a tip and trick, it's just showing you how to do something properly. So if you have a line of tames that you want to feed your meat to or your berries to, instead of faffing about holding X and putting one individual thing in, just L1 the whole inventory of meat or berries or whatever. If it's meat, you drop the spoiled meat and then you just transfer all back. And if you've got an inventory full of stuff, just type in the search bar raw and just transfer it in. It is the quickest way, and it saves faffing about. It's literally square L1 drop spoiled in. That's it, and you can just work your way down your line of gigas, rexes, whatever you may be raising, and just do that. It's so much easier than X. Oh, it's just, it becomes a palaver. So moving on to tip number 4. When you're farming resource, especially metal, you don't want to do lots of trips. You want to get as much as you can in as little time as you can, get back and burn it down. See, with metal and any resource, your player can only carry 300 slots, the same with the dino. Therefore, you can only carry the max of 300 resources from farming back with you. So this trick is how to carry 600 slots on a Anki, roll rat, whatever your resource tame is. In this circumstance, it's an Anki. So what you do, you want to fill your Anki up, slot cap it, 300 slots, and then you and a buddy just empty it, just throw all the packages on the floor and get your person to whip it up. If you have the tech legs, it works really well, because you can still move about and pick up packages that are just out of whip's reach. Once you've collected all the parcels and packages up, you're just going to get back on your Anki, sit on your Anki, and you're going to do a metal run basically, and that way you're carrying 300 slots, the player, and the Anki is also carrying 300 slots. So when you go back to base, you have 600 slots to burn down, and this works with wood, flint, stone. It works with absolutely anything. And the reason this works is because of the crab exploit, meaning you can pick up and move and pick up and throw resource tames even when they're encumbered. It makes it Ark possible. I think without the crab, I don't know if Ark would be as fun. It is the staple. The crab and the Anki is the staple of your base, you know. And if you think otherwise, you don't know enough about Ark. So moving on to the 5th and final trick slash tip, it's when you're breeding underwater dinos, anglers, two-snows, mosers, you can't pick the egg up, But if you actually get a gacha and you swim it over to where the egg is in the water, the gacha will pick up the egg. Just make sure you put some berries on the gacha first, and that way the gacha won't actually eat the egg, which will be really annoying. Nice new stats. Anyway, I hope you found these tips and tricks useful. It's a Mighty Jalak. Peace.